na minkoye juma ora William Emmanuel Wilson chief crusaders against corruption menino any enkombo anope mza wonse what men kan opay good morning pachompom to say
good morning minya nyame adom me hoye na so
erade adom me hoye na yeda so anope waje so enti first off ye hu say we raise a major campaign as to say aban abema kwan ma afi individuals omo the capacity to raise certain concerns and alarm about individuals womo suspect say womo into corruption and as a corruption related matters. I mean, some opportunities may come said there be individuals and so ebetimi file cases ebe ensure their prosecution now and komo ni munche mu ankasa no anything
medasi deni kama menka say Ghana han musi particularly with the 92 constitution so OSHA it gives the prosecutorial powers no to just one entity attorney general.
Yes.
Now attorney general so no or no or politically appointed person and you know say attorney general and now Ubibe decided say obe prosecute any case particularly in line with corruption. It means attorney general must be the only one or to me so bit me akase monye and ama monye. Now over the past period no one of the things I you say the fact that attorney generals, not necessarily this particular one, but the past attorney generals, it is very difficult. Say, omu decided say, omu be prosecute matters of corruption are a border on individuals omu ye politically exposed. And only the first thing. And until say, who person who prosecute bia, it is very difficult to say who prosecute one kasa uhunipa. And that is what causes the frustration in the fight against corruption.
Okay.
The second thing also, any the fact say because individuals, it takes time, investigation, and I focus from whistleblowers, gather information, the purported evidence about Betujano. Because at the end of the day, it is subject to the Attorney General's approval or otherwise a prosecutor. It discourages most whistleblowers, knowing very well say to me the information back at the end of the day, then could see baby. And for us to be sure, say you're encouraging individuals to ensure say there is the fight against corruption successful. No? They are advocating for this. In this process, I amended the constitution, and I amended the constitution. We should find space in the constitutional review, Omo Ejumano, to the extent some say Attorney General may cede the prosecutorial duties and our powers to some identified anti-corruption bodies and our individuals, so that NSA, the Crusaders Against Corruption, any investigation never took say National Service Secretariat and our authority engaging in ghost names which borders on corruption. Now to me investigation put the necessary documents together. In Brano Emma Yankwana Ankasa Yemfas National Service Authority and courts. Na Yankasa Yemfa your lawyer, na Yankudi assembly courts. You did assembly we need to meet retrieve whatever amount of money you be retrieve. The money goes to the state, then so a portion, a percentage, will come to Crusaders Against Corruption and any individual or engagee in such activities.
Okay.
At the end of the day, the encouraging part say, so we a whistleblower. Now we hear Juma or any entity. Now who say corruption be taking place, encourage you to get closer to the entities involved. Like I say, be a Crusaders Against Corruption. Their cost will me assure Munji information yade. Muko na muko ye investigation. No namu motiaso namu to me prosecute. Namunya successfully munya any reward from the court. Because when I'm here whistleblower, this portion goes to the government. Then so this portion about Crusaders Against Corruption for 1% and 2% will come to me as a whistleblower. at the end of the day, it encourages individuals to even see the fight against corruption as an avenue to also get some money or additional money. And it will also help save the nation a lot of money. Remember, I said these processes are here proposing. Abaino will not invest anything in it. If you say court, say a BP or court, say a bad day, Abaino will not, it won't cost Abaino anything. But at the end of the day, see, to me, go through the process, near you're successful. It goes to Abaino person. In other words, Abaino will gain out of it without necessarily involving any amount of money in the process.
But I mean, what is the genesis of this? Because we have, state institutions entrusted with the mandate of doing that. Just in recent times, they established OSP. Now, OSP no timuponi na when they say age, ebi to me and prosecuting in Crawford to say the okay, and independently, OSP will do a better job. Na what he said, the SSO to me a boy man be our Shraj ewo Iyoko ewo. Is it a fact to say we do not have the confidence in these state institutions?
It is actually the fact that the state institutions, they have been polarized and they have become partisan. And there are some cases they are able to successfully execute. There are also some cases, and so they find it difficult to prosecute. And probably the perception, another reason why they find it difficult to prosecute, just because of the perceived partisan nature of it. And then, Attorney General, Special Prosecutor, and I have been appointed by the President. It becomes difficult. Says a president, and now will be close to the president, engaging in corrupt practices. It becomes difficult to prosecute Unipakono. Those institutions are there. They have the mandate, no two ways about that. But question is to see Bisaya when said, how successful have they been over these past years, especially in the fight against corruption? Indices indicators in our suggest clearly for a long time, they haven't been so successful. And until the Ekasi, Yenji Omejuma Enfi Omusim. Then so young commercialize that the fight, the authority to prosecute, young commercialize it so that individuals and institutions, say Omoye Ankrakra, some CSOs, some NGO, if they pass through the right process and they are certified that almost made in seminal court. Look, there has been so many cases about Betoja at the end of the day. Yen Sheden who she film where say Ubekaya and Shebiaye, special prosecutor, the former one, Martin Amidu. Onuna Ostati say pursue the case involving Wyoming. And now Menokasi, Martin Amidu will always lament and say Abaino Emma Nekwaya. And now Abaino Manekwaya, even him as an individual, he will be able to retrieve money for the state in the case involving Wyoming. Okay. And then what has happened to that case? PDS, Crusaders Against Corruption, the evidence, so many documents regarding PDS. And now saying the same way other cases, Cecilia Dapa, you can talk about countless cases. Who said trend is good. And the reason why it is going that way is simply because we have politically exposed individuals in these cases. And that is why it is difficult for the state institutions to successfully prosecute these cases. And then will be the case Beko Court. Ochina the Abetian say, case me a prayer case lawyers from Attorney General's office ministry. Almost show up. In the case you to actually you better deal with the case. Then at the end of the day, the whole process is frustrated. And then at the end of the day, the American say case you have two cases naturally, you are in a foolish case and are not prosecutor. This has been the trend, and that is why we are saying that even though those institutions are there, and I collapse those institutions, and no conversation, we can have it at another time. But what is important, those institutions should not be the only mandated institutions to go into investigative processes and to be able to propose to Attorney General, say, KCF caucus and AMA caucus. Individuals, civil society organizations, anti-corruption agencies are among share abayase. We should be given the mandate also to prosecute these cases.
I see. And see, all these proposals, proposals, Munyaya, and as part of the constitutional amendment, a bit me a bem, right?
Definitely so, because as soon as I deal with a bemono, didn't say I amend the constitution, because MD can the only mandated institution it to me a prosecutor and a prosecutorial powers, attorney general. And as our powers, so they get it from the constitution. And so say you be amend the constitution. This proposal will not be effective. And you do be me sorry keke. I can say, oh, move it to me akwakoye. Jane say it be attorney general nankasa. Sorry, I can say may see some portion of my powers. Now Empono, he only have the mandate to cede it to the institutions under the government and not institutions outside government. And that is why I propose strongly say, you are commercializing the fight against corruption. But the first approach, say to me, as on mine say, you do so it is say commercializing the fight against corruption. Then we move to the next stage of how do we do that. And the first approach of the how will be say constitutional review amending the constitution so that Attorney General will not be the sole agency and not the sole entity or more powers to prosecute.
Yes, but I mean, there are some of the cases in so a little bit of criminal component. Now, in those components, when it comes up, I mean, the Attorney General is only the one that prosecutes criminal matters in this country for and on behalf of the state. And in those bits, I mean, what should happen? Because even with these cases, again in India, but the criminal element, ebani say ukunya conviction, nipano ebeko jail, will come back to the consolidated fund. Say or dahono, you bet me a feeding in the idea. Have you thought of that aspect?
In fact, so okay, criminal case, corruption and kasano a criminal offense. Into the we are talking about. That is why we are saying prosecutorial powers. Prosecutorial powers. Now, it is only criminal cases, and a prosecutorial powers comes out. If it is civil cases, you don't necessarily need Attorney General. You can go to court with your own lawyer on civil matters. Into the a criminal offense, corruption fight, and a corruption offense, a criminal offense. You must establish the intention and the action, the menstrual and then the accusatory. So this is a criminal offense already. It borders on criminality, and that is why we are saying say a ban is said. You to me investigation, you need details, you need evidence, the individuals and anti-corruption agencies are almost under state, should be given the powers to prosecute. Prosecution simply means they are the court. The lawyers, the court, criminal lawyers, the court. Now, could defend the case, and now could put the case across. Arguments, if it is successful, if the person needs to be jailed, you be jailing. In the process, you have the interest, the retrieval of the money. You declare, say, you have committed any offense that borders on corruption. Definitely means there's some money involved. You be retrieving as you can. You retrieve as you can. In the wisdom of the courts, who decide they say, custodial sentence. That one is the interest of the court. But say at the end of the day, we will retrieve the money, whatever money is involved. The money goes to the state coffers. Then it is the state that will decide, okay, because more fight say this case I'm not succeeding, 10%, 2%, whatever percent of the money that has been retrieved, goes to you, and it is for your expenses. Remember, Semika, in this whole process, Abai is not committing any money. It is the same court. now at the end of the day, we don't succeed. Aban loses nothing. At the end of the day, you succeed. Aban gains everything, and a portion of the money goes to who are initiative case are where successful, because that portion will cover your expenses in court, and then it will also serve as a reward to you.
Yes, but it's more or less like sponsoring a private member bill. I mean, in terms of funding, no, I mean there will not be any sort of financial liability on the government and all of that. But just at the latter part of your conversation, you say was a convict. That is where the problem lies.
Why should there be a problem?
Because convicting the cost of taking care of the person it will prison one any idea no eba beto aban so say
now Attorney General
is a question. Yes, eba beto aban so say now. The initial question I asked is that the prosecution did not emanate from the government or the Attorney General. It emanated from an individual. And that bit of conviction, at least there is a little bit of financial liability on the government as well.
No, that is very true. But remember, say, Attorney General goes to court. Attorney General has always sought for conviction. Is it Atuisian or some other person there? And I mean, okay, or that or share court or prison.
Yeah.
The guy is in prison because of corruption and corruption-related matters. Attorney General and the case in the court, and the guy has been in prison. And now, Sika only to say he retrieve from the state. We've not been able to retrieve all the money from him to the state, and so our prisoner is adding to the burden. Individuals are eco-prison there. That's one, it is there, and that's the reason why we always have a budget for them. But remember, say Obi Edeoka, young fan say Atuisian. Young fan say the money involved be 1 million Ghana cedis. It is just for conversation purposes. 1 million Ghana cedis. Then I know kasi. You to me in retrieve is 1 million here, and as you retrieve cry it's just 20,000 penny to me retrieve. And then at the end of the day, other prison, whether we retrieve the money or we don't retrieve the money, individuals will always go to prison, and individuals will go to prison. The mandate of the state to ensure say the state takes care of the person. Whether the budget to the prisoners, 1 CD a day, 2 CDs a day, whatever amount it is, say sufficient, say sufficient. At the end of the day, those individuals, and to say omuko court, but you see, it will not be a difficult thing, because the reason why it will not be a difficult thing is simply because this case, it is just similar to what the state prosecutor has been doing. It is just similar to the Attorney General going to seek conviction. It is the same process. The only difference is that this time we are saying, say, instead of Attorney General doing everything, there should be prosecutorial powers given to entities, individual entities, so that enough evidence that they should be able to take the whole thing to court. Look at this National Service Authority as an Abetuji. One when a year investigation in the Betuja, Fourth Estate.
Yes.
Whether we like it or not, the evidence that Fourth Estate has, the fact that they've been even able to bring this thing to the public space. Meanwhile, we have state agencies it simply tells you that they also have some powers and that they have some skills to be state agencies may not have. And what it also tells you, what it means, about the passion and understanding of this case, they are more committed than the state agencies. Why don't we allow them? Why don't we allow them to continue with prosecution? Prosecute to me retrieve whatever amount from it and a judgment that comes out of it. The state benefits from it.
Very well.
Remember a practical example, probably. If you have a number of friends, police friends, investigative friends near there, one of the frustrations are only thief. You be investigation here, the assembly be court. You be do court na attorney general. You be one say case na your foolish case. Meaning what is that lamentation be that?
Yes.
So such individuals, we do know what we are communicating to them. We are not encouraging them to be committed to fighting crime and criminal cases in this country. And that is why most at times, a case will be, police will arrest someone. And then at the end of the day, say, I'm not saying that is what most or all of them does, but some of them will do such a thing.
Okay.
It is just because of the frustration and the processes involved. Attorney General themselves will tell you, say, they have thousands of cases. And they don't even have time to go through most of the cases, and that's why most of them, they lose most of the cases. The Attorney General, it is the same process that we are saying. But this time, what we are saying is that we want individual anti-corruption agencies. We want organizations like Crusaders Against Corruption and others that we can think of to also be given the prosecutorial powers, so that they can also prosecute certain cases.
Oh. I'm grateful for your time.
Yes, Madam.
Very well. And Emmanuel Wilson, a chief crusader, anti-corruption crusader, speaking to us.